Grow, Sell, and Retire is a podcast for aspirational entrepreneurs and inspirational business owners who want to work less, earn more, and even more importantly, have an awesome time while doing it. Your host, B.D. Dalton, author of True Gravity, is here to give you the systems, processes, and actions for you to create the wealth that you've always dreamt about. Get your pencil, paper, and brain ready for secrets and top tips from his 25 years of experience in helping people build wealth. Here's your host, B.D. Dalton.
Coffee's for closers. One of the greatest lines from one of the greatest sales movies ever recorded. Glengarry Glen Ross, Alec Baldwin standing at the front of the room looking out over Jack Lemmon and a cast of characters that are there trying to sell things that don't really change people's lives. Coffee is for closers. Jack Lemmon gets up, getting ready to go back to get a cup of coffee. And Alec Baldwin, who nobody knows, is sitting in from home office to make sure that people are closing, to make sure that people are selling these Duff properties. And they're trying to make sure that everything's happening. So I wanted to go through today some sales points. I'm B.D. Dalton. You're listening to the Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast. These are success tips, secrets for life and business for the lazy overachiever. If you haven't read my book, I am all about talking about threes to make your life easier. I love threes. I love things that change your life little by little. And if you can do those little bits at a time, like my favorite book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy says, if we can add those little incremental changes into your life, we can change the way that you do business, the way that your outcomes come out, and make you a wealthier person. And wealth doesn't come to just money. It's the experiences that money can buy and that time that it can give you back to you having a better life. So guess what? We're going to go through the threes. The 3 ways of making bigger sales. These are face-to-face sales usually because it gives you a little bit more time to engage. Telesales is still there. You know, they talk about cold calling being dead. It's not dead. It's just much more difficult when you're trying to reach out to a huge market. So step number 1 in the threes, get your pen out. You really should always have a pen. And guess what? The first one is plan and prepare. So guess what? In this information age, you need to know more about your clients, more about, especially if you're B2B, your business to business sales, you need to know the ins and outs. You need to know if they're going to be able to pay you. So you should be able to use things like Companies House here in the UK, where you can check and see what their last year's books were, if they can afford you, if they spent time on marketing or money on marketing, who the directors are in their business so that you know who are the decision makers. So you're going to go out there, you're going to look at Companies House. You're going to look at their LinkedIn profile. Sometimes this is a great reason, and one of the only main reasons to have a LinkedIn Gold account, a paid LinkedIn account, is because you can go in stealth mode and you can background check people. And do you know that you can also check some of the things that they really like, some of their keywords that are in their titles? So what happens if you know that they play golf? What happens if you know that they're a member of a civic society like Kiwanis, Rotary, things like that? You can know what charities they go out on there. If you want to be a real stalker, you can look at Facebook. Definitely go to the website. Check out what they say that they do, what the role of this person is. Make sure that you are talking in their language. And you need to be able to make sure that whatever you're selling saves them time, money, or effort. That's the big thing here. Time, money, and effort. That's your job. So you're going to sit back, you're going to plan, you're going to prepare, you're going to dig into it. And guess what? The other week, we were looking at a big deal, getting ready to sell a company. And we went in and we'd done the background research on the company. We went in and the guy said, well, I'm going to do this with this part of the business. And we go, well, is that going to be to this company? He said, how did you know about that company? Well, it said, it's our job to know about that company. So you know what? We got the business because it moved us forward, because the guy said, wow, if these guys can do this to me and they planned enough to come in and talk to me about the right thing, then guess what? They can have the business. So we've got that. It will be one of the biggest sales we've done this year of a business. So it's really one of those things that you need to sit back, you need to plan, you need to prepare. The second thing is, and I talked about this multiple times, always take notes. You don't always have to go back and look at those notes, but in the moment, you take notes, because what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to put the language in context that your client is saying. You're going to make sure that you understand what they're talking about. If they're talking about, golly, it was hard, our last vendor did this, our last salesperson did that, and I really want to change this or I want to change that, you're going to be writing that down. You've got to use their language and make sure that you're not saying things that contradict what you're trying to do, nor being aggressive to their point of view. Overall, your job is to use those notes. You should have a small notebook. You should take regular notes. It means that you're paying attention, you're putting words in context, and guess what? You're going to repeat some of those words back to the client to say, let me understand if I heard you correctly. When you said this, did you mean that? And so it allows you to take those mental notes to show that you're paying attention, but also to put it back to the client and say, you know what, I am listening, and here's what I think that this will do for you. My product, my service, me as a person will be able to do this for you, because that's what I'm doing here as a salesperson or as a business owner that will interact with you and take your business to the next level by purchasing this from me. So we've planned, we've prepared, then we've taken notes. Always take notes. I've got my brand new intern that's come in, and I said, number one thing, take notes. The team that working at the law firm, always take notes. You should sit down and always take notes. The last thing, and this is so important that I need you to do this. You need to ask open-ended questions. Imagine what your life or your business would be like if you asked open-ended questions. Imagine what type of clients you could bring in if you asked the right open-ended questions. Think to a time in the future when you've asked a bunch of open-ended questions and brought in the right clients, what would your business look and feel like? Open-ended questions get rid of the yes or no. Everybody knows that I deal with, there's three things. There's yes, no, and maybe. I hate maybe. Maybe is a word that makes you focus your efforts, your energy, everything else on that, oh God, I got to get it to a yes or I got to get it to no. I love yeses and I love no's. Maybes kill time, they kill energy, and they kill deals. So you need to open these questions. What happens in your business if you could get away from clients that give you maybes? If you could get straight to yeses and nos. Because no doesn't always mean no forever. No means no for right now. Maybe means maybe forever, typically. I don't know if you're like me, but if I get a maybe, that's a 10% chance that it's actually going to happen. So it's got to be a yes or a no. And if it's no and I really want it, I will go back out for it. So imagine your business and you and your life if you could get more people to yes or no versus maybe. So you need to ask those open-ended questions. Write those down. Tell me your best open-ended questions. If you get a chance to, go to BDD or send an email to bdd@bartdaltonconsulting.com with your best open-ended question. If you're out there trying to close big deals, make big sales, these are high-ticket items, or you're selling business to business, these are questions. Imagine what your client would think if you did this. Take a note. Plan ahead of time to make sure you can compare or help them get around some of the problems that they're having with their competitors, with the other people that they deal with. But this will give you the opportunity to be more than just that guy down the street. It will help you be the person that closes more deals. Guess what? you'll be able to get up and have a coffee. If you're having a hard time doing all sorts of things, don't let yourself have a coffee until you've asked an open-ended question. Do not take a sip of coffee in a meeting until you've written down some notes. Because what did Alec Baldwin say? Jack Lemmon, sit down. Coffee's for closers. This has been B.D. Dalton from the Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast. If you've listened to this, make sure you click subscribe. Pass it on to your friends. I just want to keep getting all my people to the top, because my big thing is if I can get more people to the top, the world will be much more fun, much more engaged, and a greater place to be in, because we'd all feel abundance. We would all feel wealth. Thank you very much. All the best. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us on Grow, Sell, and Retire. For more information, tools, or to book one of our team members to work with your team, business, or to speak at your event or conference, visit bartdaltonconsulting.com or email contact@bartdaltonconsulting.com. Buy the book True Gravity on Amazon. If you want to work for the rest of your life, that is your business. If you don't, that is ours.